On today's episode of Ramblings with Rebecca, we are going to talk about and celebrate, although only via talking about it, one of the biggest Islamic religious holidays of the year. So Eid, or Eid, depending on how one pronounces it, and none of those are really exactly appropriate. But of course, with all of the various dialects and the number of regions in which Islamic holidays are celebrating, everyone says it a little bit differently. Generally in English transliterated, spelled E-I-D. Today, as in Tuesday the 15th of October, yes, is Eid al-Adha. The greater Eid, the major festival, the Feast of the Sacrifice, the Qurban Bayram, many names. Generally, this festival celebrates Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son Ishmael, and his son's willingness to be sacrificed. Some of you may think this sounds very familiar. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, this has a parallel story. The son who is going to be sacrificed in that tradition is Isaac rather than Ishmael. For Muslims, Ishmael is the one who goes up the mountain, and then, right as Abraham is about to sacrifice his son, God interferes, and there's a lamb instead, who gets sacrificed. So this festival is to celebrate that willingness to sacrifice, and also God's willingness to intervene, if you will. Eid is a 4-day celebration. Today is the beginning of it, so woohoo! Eid Mubarak, a happy Eid kind of thing. It's the greeting one gives, especially like after prayers have been done and you're about to dig into the feast. It's always the same day for the Islamic calendar, but of course with our Gregorian calendar, the date changes. So today, or this year, it happens to fall on the 15th of October. It moves around, since the Islamic calendar is quite different than the 365-day Gregorian. Eid al-Adha, as I mentioned, is the second of two Eid festivals. Eid al-Fitr marks the end of Ramadan, and is known as kind of the lesser Eid, simply because it's less of a big deal, and this is really the more important for, focusing on sacrifice and that kind of thing. Eid al-Fitr, ends Ramadan, so, there's been this whole month of, focused intentionality already. Basic rundown is similar to many religious holidays. Lots of time with family. Schools in Muslim majority communities will likely be closed for the holiday, and a lot of people, back with their family for the 3 to 5 days, kind of depending. Some schools give the whole week off. Some would give, like the big feast days off, that kind of thing. Lots of food and celebration. And then, kind of just the extra awareness of religion in the home and community. Lots of specific services and prayers to mark the sacrifice and to kind of recall to awareness. A lot of community and private rituals. Right. So in the same way, that Christian communities, kind of tend to be more likely to go to church on Christmas or Easter, that kind of thing. Like Eid al-Adha is, a time when, most Muslims, even not super religious Muslims, will, be engaged in religious practice. Halal refers to the meat preparation that is done in an appropriate manner for Muslims. Families that can afford to sacrifice an animal according to halal practice at this time, generally a cow, but goat, camel, sheep, ram, whatever. The family keeps a third of it. Neighbors and friends get another third, and then the last third goes to the poor. So kind of recalling the idea of charity, and the idea is that everyone in the community needs to be able to take part in a sacrificial meal during Eid al-Adha. Most Muslims are very welcoming at this time. The student group at Edinburgh is doing an all-welcome celebration feast tonight, since obviously a lot of students unfortunately can't get home, because plane tickets are very big, and being in Scotland, we do not have Eid al-Adha off of classes, but the society is doing a feast tonight at which all are welcome, so I have some Jewish mates going to celebrate the Eid, which should be grand fun. And I have a chat with Dorm Room Diplomacy, my Middle East U.S. relations group, and we're going to miss some of our folks because some of them will be celebrating with home, but some of them are, stuck in classes and can't celebrate with home, so we're going to have a little party via our Google Plus Hangout. Anyway, so Eid Mubarak!